Ladies and gentlemen, the idea of a woman with no friends is a tragic and lamentable thought. Yet, I submit, one that speaks to a common condition in the human experience. It's a condition not always immediately visible to the world, but one which can be deeply felt in the quiet moments when the world falls away and we find ourselves in solitude. At its core, this condition is one of isolation, not mere physical separation from others, but a profound emotional and spiritual disconnection. A woman with no friends may find herself adrift in a sea of faces, yet unable to find a soul who truly sees her, who understands her, or with whom she can share the depth of her thoughts. In such a state, one must ask, is this a condition of the heart or of the circumstances? While it is true that life can sometimes place barriers between people, forcing them to walk alone, I believe that at the heart of loneliness lies the hunger for connection, for meaningful, true companionship. We are creatures made for fellowship, creatures designed to seek others to walk with us. This is why solitude, though it offers moments of reflection, can be both a gift and a curse. In solitude, one may learn much about oneself, but it is a cold and distant lesson, for there is no hand to hold, no voice to echo our thoughts. Yet let us not despair. The absence of friendship does not denote a lack of worth. In fact, the very experience of isolation can sometimes bring the most valuable lessons. We come to learn that friendship is not something to be demanded, nor can it be forged by mere convenience. True friendship, as many of us have discovered, is a rare and precious thing. Grown in the soil of mutual respect, shared vulnerability, and a common longing for truth. It is not to be found in the crowds, but often in the quiet spaces where two souls meet. However, this does not mean that one should resign to isolation, nor does it suggest that friendship is a prize to be won through effort alone. Friendship is not and should never be a mere pursuit of utility. It requires something more, a willingness to open oneself, to risk the discomfort of being truly known, to show one's frailty, the pride that keeps us from seeking others out, the arrogance that convinces us we are self-sufficient, only serves to further distance us from the warmth of human connection. The woman who finds herself without friends is not beyond the reach of grace. In fact, the very experience of loneliness may be the fertile ground from which new relationships grow. For when we allow ourselves to acknowledge our isolation, we also make room for others to approach, for others who may share in our need for connection. There is hope in the emptiness. There is the potential for something new to begin, as it so often does in the spaces where we least expect it. In conclusion, let us remember this. Though a woman may find herself with no friends today, there is no sorrow without the possibility of joy. Through openness, through humility, and through a willingness to embrace the inherent vulnerability of being human, the absence of friends can, in time, be filled. The key is not to fixate on the absence, but to focus on the possibility, on the world of people waiting to be seen, known, and loved. Friendship is not just about shared experiences or casual companionship. It is something much deeper, involving an intimate understanding of one another. A true friendship, as understood by many, is rooted in mutual respect, vulnerability, and the ability to share one's innermost thoughts, fears, and hopes. It is not the superficial ties that we form in social settings, but the rare connections that form between individuals who recognize and value one another's humanity. C.S. Lewis often discussed the concept of friendship as something that transcends even love and affection, as it is the only relationship that is fully voluntary and based on shared pursuits of truth and understanding. This makes it a unique bond, distinct from familial ties or romantic relationships. The nature of friendship, therefore, is not one based solely on proximity or mutual benefits. It is an endeavor to understand and to be understood. This understanding often leads to the mutual exploration of ideas, beliefs, and experiences that challenge and refine each person involved. In this sense, Friendship is often seen as a vehicle for personal growth. It allows both individuals to stretch their intellectual and emotional capacities by holding each other accountable and encouraging the pursuit of goodness and wisdom. It is a partnership not simply in joy, but also in struggles, offering support and counsel through life's trials. For true friends, time and distance have little impact on the bond. Friendship is one of the few human relationships that allows the freedom to be fully oneself while fostering a deep connection. At the heart of it, friendship is the ability to share life with another human being in a way that transcends time and space. This bond requires not only a mutual recognition of shared values, but also a willingness to sacrifice and be vulnerable. In this relationship, each person gives of themselves in ways that are both subtle and profound. The beauty of friendship, therefore, lies in its uniqueness. It is not something that can be cultivated on a whim or constructed through mere effort. It is an organic process that emerges from genuine connection. Human beings are not solitary creatures by nature. While it may be tempting to isolate oneself or to convince oneself of the benefits of solitude, our biology and psychology drive us toward connection. The need for companionship is not simply a superficial desire. It is an essential part of our emotional, intellectual, and social well-being. Historically, human survival has depended on forming close-knit groups, from family units to tribes, and even in modern times, our need for connection remains a core part of the human condition. Psychologically, this need for connection can be seen in our desire to be understood, to feel seen, and to have our existence validated by others. We find comfort in knowing that there are others who can relate to our experiences, share our interests, and offer support during difficult times. This social nature is embedded deep within our psyche, affecting our mental and emotional health. Humans are not designed to live in isolation. Studies show that prolonged periods of loneliness and social disconnection can lead to depression, anxiety, and various health problems. On the contrary, positive, supportive relationships can enhance overall well-being, increase feelings of self-worth, and contribute to emotional stability. Beyond the personal need for connection, there is a broader social need that exists within all human cultures. Human beings thrive in communities where collaboration and mutual support are the foundation. These communities foster a sense of belonging, which in turn provides individuals with the strength to navigate life's challenges. As social animals, humans gain meaning and purpose through interaction, whether with friends, family, or even strangers who share similar values. Through connection, we define ourselves, learn, grow, and contribute to the collective. In relationships, we not only find the joy of shared experiences, but also the opportunity to become better versions of ourselves. The need for connection, then, is not merely about finding someone to pass the time with, but about sharing in the profound human experience of growth and development. It is a reminder that we are part of a larger whole, and that our existence gains deeper meaning through our interactions with others. Solitude, often perceived as a form of suffering, can be understood as a space for personal reflection, growth, and self-discovery. Though human beings are naturally social, there are times when solitude is necessary for an individual's development. Without the distractions of the outside world, one can retreat inwardly, becoming more attuned to their thoughts, feelings, and desires. Far from being a negative state, solitude can become a sacred space where one encounters the self in its purest form, without the expectations or judgments of others. In solitude, there is an opportunity to cultivate self-awareness, which is an essential part of personal growth. When removed from the demands of social interaction, an individual can reflect on their actions, choices, and beliefs. This reflection can lead to a better understanding of oneself, fostering emotional maturity and clarity of purpose. Solitude allows for the time and space necessary to confront difficult truths, address unresolved conflicts, and develop one's character. As the distractions of daily life fade away, an individual becomes more attuned to the deeper aspects of their being, leading to greater peace and understanding. Furthermore, solitude is a chance to deepen one's spiritual life, Many spiritual traditions emphasize the importance of solitude for connecting with the divine or gaining insight into one's spiritual journey. Without the noise of the external world, individuals can cultivate a sense of peace and contentment, focusing on internal growth and spiritual practices that strengthen the soul. It is in moments of solitude that we often find clarity, as we are able to hear the quiet whispers of intuition and discernment. However, this solitude must not be confused with isolation. While isolation implies a state of loneliness and despair, solitude is chosen and intentional. It is a time for self-reflection, self-improvement, and growth. It provides a fertile ground for new ideas, creative endeavors, and emotional healing. In solitude, we are invited to discover who we truly are, unburdened by the expectations and judgments of the world. The idea that one does not need others, that one can be entirely self-sufficient, is a dangerous and ultimately harmful misconception. While independence and self-reliance are often lauded as virtues, excessive self-sufficiency can lead to isolation, pride, and an unhealthy detachment from others. Human beings were never meant to live in isolation, nor are we designed to bear the full weight of life's burdens alone. To reject the need for others is to deny an essential aspect of the human condition, the need for community and connection. Self-sufficiency in its extreme form often manifests as a form of pride. The belief that one does not need help, that one can succeed entirely on their own, is an expression of arrogance. It ignores the reality that we are interdependent creatures, reliant on one another for survival, support, and growth. No one person, no matter how skilled or knowledgeable, can function in isolation without suffering consequences. We all need others to help us see beyond our own limitations, to offer guidance, and to challenge our assumptions. In rejecting the need for others, individuals also reject the opportunity for growth that comes from vulnerability. True growth happens when we allow ourselves to be influenced by others, to be shaped by our interactions with the world. When we refuse to open ourselves to others, we stunt our emotional and intellectual development. Relationships teach us about compassion, patience, humility, and understanding, qualities that self-sufficiency cannot provide. Excessive self-sufficiency also leads to an unhealthy detachment from the realities of the world around us. By closing ourselves off, we ignore the very experiences that shape and define us. Our growth is not an isolated, solitary journey, it is a communal one. Only through connection with others can we fully understand the complexity of the human experience. The idea of self-sufficiency is a denial of this truth, and ultimately it isolates the individual from the very richness that human connection brings. Isolation is one of the most profound and painful human experiences. It is not simply the absence of others, but a deep sense of disconnection that cuts to the core of our being. To be isolated is to feel unimportant, unheard, and unseen. It is an experience that can evoke feelings of worthlessness, confusion, and despair. It is the condition of existing without any meaningful connection to another person, leaving the individual feeling as though their existence has little impact or meaning. The pain of isolation is not just emotional, but can also affect an individual's physical and mental health. Numerous studies have shown that prolonged isolation can increase the risk of depression, anxiety, and even physical ailments. Humans are wired to connect, and when those connections are absent, the body and mind begin to suffer. The loneliness that accompanies isolation is not merely the absence of people, but the absence of meaningful relationships that provide comfort, understanding, and love. Furthermore, isolation can lead to a distorted sense of self. Without the feedback, support, and challenge that come from others, individuals may struggle to understand their own identity or to know their place in the world. Relationships help to define who we are. They mirror our strengths and weaknesses, provide a sounding board for our thoughts, and offer comfort during moments of vulnerability. Without these connections, individuals can become adrift, uncertain, and lost. The emotional pain that arises from such a state can be profound, leading to a spiral of self-doubt and anxiety. Yet this pain is not without hope. Even in the deepest moments of isolation, there is always the possibility of connection. The recognition that one is not truly alone, that there are others who share similar experiences, thoughts, and feelings, can be the first step toward healing. The experience of isolation, painful though it may be, is also a reminder of the deep human need for companionship and belonging. Vulnerability is the cornerstone of all meaningful relationships, especially friendship. It is the willingness to expose oneself, emotionally, intellectually, and sometimes physically, to another person in a way that invites connection and understanding. To be vulnerable is to allow oneself to be seen fully, without guards or pretensions, and to share the raw, unpolished parts of our humanity. This act of openness is not easy, as it exposes us to the possibility of rejection or misunderstanding. Yet, it is in this vulnerability that true friendship is born. In a world where appearances often matter more than authenticity, the ability to be vulnerable is increasingly rare. People hide behind masks, presenting only the versions of themselves that they believe will be accepted or admired. But these facades are ultimately empty. They fail to foster true connection. It is only through vulnerability that individuals can truly relate to one another. By revealing our weaknesses, fears, and imperfections, we invite others into our world in a way that allows for mutual understanding and support. Vulnerability is not weakness, as it is often perceived. Rather, it is a sign of strength and courage. To open oneself up to another is an act of trust, a recognition that human connection is worth the risk. Through vulnerability, we create space for compassion, empathy, and authentic connection. It is through these qualities that friendship can grow, as both individuals reveal their true selves to one another. The challenge of vulnerability is that it requires us to let go of control. It requires faith in others and in the possibility of meaningful connection. It is a willingness to be seen and known for who we truly are. Only by embracing vulnerability can we form relationships that are deep, lasting, and transformative. In conclusion, the journey of understanding a woman with no friends reveals the deep importance of connection, vulnerability, and the human need for true companionship. Friendship is not merely an incidental part of life, but a vital element that nurtures our growth and emotional well-being. While isolation may cause pain and self-sufficiency can distance us from others, it is through vulnerability and a willingness to embrace connection that we find healing and strength. Even in solitude there is hope, as true friendships often emerge when least expected, transforming loneliness into an opportunity for profound personal and relational growth.